Hey guys, good morning. Tia here. Welcome to my channel. I am Tia Hen. I am your independent fragrance consultant, and I am continuing my keeping it real, keeping it raw, uncut challenge this morning. Excuse me while I get a squig of water. All right, guys, as we were. That's a term used, a terminology that's used in the military, but we'll typically say as you were, like picking up from something you was already previously doing. So if you guys don't know, I am a retired Navy vet. I did 22 years in the military, so it was a very, very big part of my life. Very it really shaped who I became. It shaped my whole life. And I was watching something on YouTube this morning while I was getting ready for work. And it was a conversation about comparing being in the military to, going the traditional route from, graduating high school, going into college. And it did the guy that was hosting the podcast, he did like a comparison, and he showed a couple of different clips and perspectives from people that was in the military. And I was like, oh, I'm going to share that this morning on my page. So I'm going to say it like this. People say, oh, the military is a life hack. It's this, it's that. It depends on who you are. It really depends on the individual, and if they see being in the military for what it really is and what it can offer them. Because if you go in the military, think of it right now. If you was to go in as an E1, because most people, they go in as an E1, unless you are going the officer route. You go in as an E1, and the basic pay for an E1 is about $2,000, right? You're gonna get paid. You're gonna get paid. You're gonna have a place to sleep. You're gonna have all of your medical and dental paid for. And you're actually getting a skill set, a job trade. You're getting you're moving into a career field. So if you're able to just get those few things from it, even if you do 2 to 4 years, it can be the gift that can keep on giving. But if you get in there and you say, well, I don't like nobody yelling at me. I don't want nobody in my face. I don't want nobody telling me where I got to be and what time I got to be there. I don't want, if you go in there with that kind of mindset, and then you're complaining because it's hot, it's too hot, or it's too cold, or the food is nasty, or if you go in there with that kind of mindset, it's probably going to work in the opposite direction for you. You're probably going to go in, and then your career is going to be short-lived. And then what are you to do? So it's ridiculous to spend all that time getting physically fit to pass, getting all those vaccinations because they're going to shoot you up, and then take the ASVABs, get through all of that, go to MEPS, go to boot camp, and all to turn around and get sent back home. So if you're going to do all of that working up to get in, you may want to stick around for the benefits, because mentally I wasn't even ready to go in. I didn't even really know what I was getting into. I kind of just was like, oh, one of my girlfriends went in. She came home on leave. She said, T, I went in the Navy, blah, blah, blah. It was this, it was that. I said, girl, how'd you do it? She said, I just went to a recruiter and I just got up out of here. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. And so everybody around me was just doing whatever, A lot of my friends had started having kids young, and I wanted to give myself a chance at life because I see how quick things happen. Things happen fast, rapidly. So I went in without really even understanding what I was getting myself into. Went to my first time I got on a plane was when I went to Great Lakes for boot camp. Scared out of my mind. Got to boot camp, tried to call my mom. They only give you like 3 seconds to call them, and if you can't, get off the phone. I'm trying to call her and trying to put the number in, and it wasn't working. I'm nervous and I'm shaking, and I didn't get a chance to call them when I made it. But I eventually was able to call. I was eventually able to check in and tell her I'm fine, I'm okay, everything's good. So went through that, and then I went to school, which wasn't too far from where I had basic training. And the winter, it started because I went in the military in June of 95. And so it was warm. It was, then the fall came. But when that winter hit, and that snow and that sleet and that freezing temperatures came, it was pretty rough. Given I was from Baltimore, so I'm used to frigid temperatures and stuff like that and snow. It just was a different kind of cold there though. But I toughed through it. Made it through school. Made it to my first duty station. Met up with some people that I was in school with. We was in Charleston, South Carolina for my first duty station. Then I transitioned overseas to Guam. I was in Guam for a year and some change. And then I came to Virginia. And around that time, I started to figure out that, okay, if I'm going to be in the military, if I'm going to do this, I need to take it serious. So I would say my first 4 years, I really didn't take it serious. But it got to a point, especially when I came back to the United States, I said, okay, let me get my stuff together. Because when I went in the military, I didn't even have a driver's license. I learned how to drive while I was in. And when I came home, when I came to Virginia, I'd say that's when I got my license. So that probably was maybe 3 years later. Yeah. So I was probably like 21 by the time I got my license. Because everybody was like, you don't have a driver's license? I was like, I'm from Baltimore. We don't have to, we catch the bus. This is public transportation. I can go anywhere, do anything. I don't need a driver's license. They was like, well, you should want a driver's license. And I was like, so I started saying, so you got a driver's license? Mm-hmm. You got one? Mm-hmm. You got, mm-hmm. Everybody had one. I'm the oddball. So, of course, I was like, let me go get my driver's license. So I came home to Virginia and got my first little car. Got me it was a little red Geo Metro, little putt-putt, little 3-cylinder, no power steering vehicle. My dad brought it for me, and I was so appreciative. And so that was around the time when I started saying, let me take this serious. Let me figure this thing out because I can do this. It kept me physically fit. It taught me a lot of discipline. I was able to strategically work through things and not get overwhelmed, not have severe anxiety. I was comfortable speaking in front of people. It gave me a lot of different aspects of life that I don't know if I would have been able to obtain had I went the traditional college route. And honestly, when I got out of high school, I did try to go into college, but it wasn't financially smart to go in given my family situation, my situation. I had a scholarship for like $500. That wasn't going to take me nowhere fast. So the military was a great option for me, and I'll say this, that it was the best decision I ever made. It really was. And while I was in, I was able to get my associate's degree. I was able to get a bachelor's degree. And once I got out of the military, I used my GI Bill to get my master's degree. I also was able to get certified in tons of industry certifications. I also just finished school, project management certification with University of Maryland, starting real estate school next month. No debt, no school, no student loans, no debt, no financial debt at all. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. So I don't know, whoever is listening to this and whoever this information falls upon, if you do choose to go in, make the best of it. Try, and don't get me wrong, it's a male-dominated environment. You are definitely going to be amongst tons of men. It's ran by men. Mostly there's women leaders in the military, but it is a male-dominated environment. And it can put you in uncomfortable situations, but you just gotta know how to handle yourself. You really do. You have to know how to handle yourself. And not only that, but there are people who have sometimes not really respected us melanated people the most. They just don't. But you find a way to diplomatically have conversations and handle things, and try not to escalate it to the point where as though it's going to, backfire or you get you in any trouble. I've been in multiple situations where I've had people that were senior to me challenge me because, sometimes they look at black women as we're aggressive, we want to dominate everything. We're loud, and we most of the time we're just trying to set the tone that we're going to demand our respect as well. We fought to get in these rooms and sit at these tables, so we want to be respected as well. You can't just downplay what I'm saying or what opinion I have, or my voice is going to be heard when we're at the table together having a conversation about X, Y, and Z. And once I started figuring out how to make things work in my favor, I was always top. I was always top 5% of any pay grade I was in. Advancements, accolades, awards, you name it. So not that I'm trying to pop my collar or nothing, but it was who I became. I became someone that took great pride in everything I put my hands in. Anything that I touched, I wanted it to be a success. So do I think now the job that I have is beneficial from my military career? Absolutely. The job that I have now, I absolutely got it because of my military service. Being a veteran absolutely helped me get this job. Did my degrees help me get it? Probably not. Probably not, because it wasn't even required for me to have a degree. But the education that came along with the degree helped me in my job as a supervisor, IT program manager. So it does help me. And I appreciate that I was able to obtain those degrees because they are with me for life. I will always have that educational background to help me if in the event I want to transition to another job, another field. So I'm very appreciative, but the military service that I gave to this country for 22 years straight is what helped garner me to be who I am today and have the position I have in my profession. That's all I got. Keeping it real, keeping it raw, uncut with Tia. Thank y'all for joining. If you stayed this long, thank you. Look, subscribe. Come on, y'all. Let's do this thing. Let's talk life. Let's talk home fragrance. Let's talk careers. Let's talk retirement. Look, I'm 8 years down. I'm about to be 8 years into my retirement, my full retirement. I am ready to do this thing. I am preparing myself. Hence why I'm moving into real estate, so I can still be active, still keep doing some things. So y'all come along with me on this journey. I appreciate y'all for staying along. If you lasted this long, thank you so much. Tia Hen, Divine Aromas. That's Cincy.us. If you're interested in some wonderful home fragrances. Thank you for tuning in. Tia.